Okay guys, this is week 2 of Eclipse class, and some of the stuff, just to kind of recap from last week, was pretty basic. We went over the zoom in, zoom out, messing around with the printer, watching the visualizers, and how to do all of that stuff. So do you guys have any questions about, stuff that we covered last week? Just going out to the whole class? No questions?
No, teacher. No.
Awesome.
Your answer, no.
Yeah. The reason I'm saying that is because we have 2 students in here tonight. 2 worthy students. So, anyway. One thing that I wanted to cover this week that we were going to cover last week was loading a job. Okay, so take notes on this stuff. You can always go back and watch the video, but some of the steps that I'm going to kind of go through is kind of important or whatever. So it's pretty easy. But like I was telling you guys last week, and I don't know if you guys can see, but this is an SD card. And it fits in the machine. This one is a 8 gig. Usually what I buy now is a 32 gig. 32 is ridiculous. 8's big, 32 is ridiculous. And I can probably hold writing every day, I'd say on average about 6 hours, 5.5, 6 hours a day. Probably about 1.5 years worth of stuff. Like I was telling y'all last week, we used to use floppy disk. It would hold about 6 days, and it was about 27 times the size of this little disk. So what you do is, if you're not writing real time, this is what you need to do to load a job. Okay? So what you do is you take your little SD card, and in the side of your computer, you should have a little slot for like an SD card. If not, they sell these little adapters, and I forgot to bring it, and I apologize, I'll bring it next week. But it's a little USB adapter, and it just kind of fits into the side of your computer, and then it fits into that little adapter, okay? My computer has a little slot for the SD card, but I use the adapter. So yeah, it just I don't know, it reads a little bit better.
Doesn't it read
I've
faster
seen.
or something?
I don't know if it's faster. For some reason I couldn't figure it out in the beginning. Now I kind of have it, but anyway. So once it's in there, you want to do Alt-I, and if you can, just do that. Try it on your computer. I don't know what'll come up without the SD card in there. It should come up, and it should give you a little box like this. Does it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to give you a little, and what it says right here, read notes. And that's what you want to do. You want to read notes. So this is what you're going to do to load a job if you haven't already done it in real time. Okay? So you come right here to New Source Location. Left click on it, then arrow down to whichever drive that you have it in, okay? This certain drive that I just put it in is in G, okay? So you want to highlight G, okay. Brings you back to here. Don't freak out, okay? It's doing some stuff, so go back to New Source Location, open. Now it's open. So it just opened the source. Okay? Does that make sense? Not real hard, but
Do all writers have the SD card? Even
all the new ones have them.
What is?
That one may not. It's going to be in the back. It should be on the back somewhere.
No, I see.
Really? They should all have them. They should. okay? And then you just go down and pick the day. So, I had somebody that called and they wanted something from, and the way that you read it, I know that it looks kind of weird, but it goes by the year, 2012, and then 09. So September of 2012 is the way that it reads. I know it reads kind of funky, so you just see these numbers 201, 209. So if you've never done it, then it's like, whoa, what? And that's the way that they put them on, is they do it by the year and the month, okay? So you have an attorney that calls you, says, you know what? I want that hearing that we took in December of 2012. Okay, go in, read it in, go in, open the news source, come here, 2012, 12, December, okay?
Are these the same files that you would find in Eclipse? I guess I'm not
What do you mean?
following. I don't know what
I'm going to show you, and this may clear it up. This may clear up your question, but if not, then I'll see if I can answer it. So you want to highlight December 2012, press OK. Now it comes to all the dates that you wrote in 2012. Okay? So you just kind of scroll down, and as you can see, I was kind of messing around with some stuff on the 4th. So I have a bunch of different files on the 4th. Usually I don't do it like that. And I'll open another file and it should be a little bit different. But what I do is I have a morning file and I have an afternoon file. Okay, that's the way that I do it. Now if you take a deposition, you may take 3 depots in a day. You're going to have 3 separate files. Okay?
Okay, and are you going to show us how we control making that file?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are these files that, they're not in Eclipse because you didn't do real time? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you did real time, they're already going to be in
Okay,
there.
that's what I was, okay.
Yeah, they're
that's
already
what I
gonna be
was
in there.
thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So this is what, and that's a very good question. And I kind of touched on it a little bit. Maybe I didn't explain myself
You
well
did
enough.
last week, yeah.
But this is when you have to read in a job that you didn't do in real time. You should be doing it in real time just about every job.
Right.
Because you're going to a deposition, at least take your computer, read it in, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, this is kind of how you do it, okay? So if for some reason, God forbid, your laptop crashes, something happens that day, your real time wasn't working that day, your cable, forgot your cable, whatever. This is how you're going to do it, which is no big deal. It's no big deal. You can still do it, so it's not like, it's a wasted day if you go to that depot or you go to court and you didn't have your computer that day, okay?
Is there any way that Eclipse can read those notes and translate them after the fact?
Yeah, this is what we're
That's
doing.
what that's
This is exactly what we're doing, yeah.
Okay.
So everything is written down on that little SD card. All of your notes, all of your WAV files, and the WAV file is the voice file. So it's the recording, okay? And I'm going to show you that in just a little bit. But these are the files, and you can kind of see how big they are. Some of them are 0, 390, 11,000. So it's a bigger file, So you just kind of go to whatever day you want, and say you needed one on the 19th. Well, I want the job on December 19th of 2012 that we took in the morning, 10:09. It shows that. And I'm gonna kind of open another one, guys, just because I don't usually do it like this. And I shouldn't have done it on one of the other later files. it still did. No big deal. No big deal. Now this is from May of 2013, okay? So, and you can see, you know, I have a WAV file. There's, these right here are your note files. So, you know, say the attorney calls and says, you know what, I want the job from May 13th in the morning. It was 9:39, okay? And what they do is they do it in military time, if you notice that, you know, 13:51, so that was in the afternoon of the 9th. So it's like, okay, well, it kind of shows you the notes right here of what you have, what you took that day, what it is. So if you want to, you kind of, you know, go down, check the notes a little bit, you know, see, oh yeah, this is the file that I need, okay. So then you push read. Then it comes here. So now it tells you, okay, we found the file. What do you want to name it? I name it per the day. You go and take a deposition of Mr. Krzyzewski, then maybe you name it Ron Krzyzewski, if that's the guy whose depo you're taking. You know, this way it's easy to find. I do it by the day because I only have a morning and an afternoon file. So we have certain cases that we hear in the morning, and then we have certain cases that we hear in the afternoon. So I know if the attorney comes and tells me, hey, you know what? I need that trial that we took on May the 13th. Well, we don't do trials in the afternoon unless it carries over on a Friday. But other than that, we have an afternoon docket every day except for Friday. Fridays are used for our carryover days for longer cases. So if it's a trial on a Tuesday or a Monday, then I know that it was in the morning, okay? If it was a permanency review, placement review, those are afternoon cases. And I already know, you know, I need the testimony from the mom on that permanency review that we took on May the 5th. And a lot of times I'll just ask him, it was in the afternoon? Yeah, it was in the afternoon. Okay. It's kind of a rhetorical question for me because I know when it was. But I just kind of do it out of habit now. So I'll ask him. So, you know, you go through and you name it. I think that was the day. So I'm just going to name it, you know, whatever. So it was, you know, 5/13/13, I think was the day that I picked or whatever. But I just kind of did this just so I kind of know that it, you know. So then you do okay. Well, now I just read it. That tells you right there how many strokes there was. 74,000 strokes. Kind of crazy. That's a enormous day for us. Enormous. So it must have been a Friday. I don't know. But, so now it's already read in. Okay? So now you're done with that. That's all you can do with that. Now what you have to do is translate it. Okay? Translate it means going in and putting your dictionary in, and now everything's going to come up in English. Okay? So how you do that is one of two ways. You can go into the Alt-I in your on your table up here is read notes. So Alt-I is read notes. So that's what you want to do, read notes or whatever. It's what we just did with the little SD card. Read notes.
So if I click that right now.
Alt-I or read notes.
Yeah.
Takes you to the same little window that we just came into.
If I have this machine plugged in through the cord, like connecting it to my real time after the fact, would that be a way that I could get notes off of here since it has some memory, even though there's no card?
You may. I've never done it that way,
Okay.
but you may. I don't know. I don't know if it'll read directly to it or not. I'm not sure. I've never done it, so I apologize. I can find that out, but
I'll just get a new.
and it might be a way of doing it, whatever. Okay. What kind of machine do you have?
Wave.
You have the Diamante.
I don't think so.
That looks just like the Diamante.
Oh, it's a wave?
Yeah, that's the Diamante. The student version, I guess, of
It
the
is the
Diamante.
student.
Yeah. It doesn't look like. Well, you're not going to have any reason to have the thing, so
Oh,
that's
okay.
probably why. But
Okay,
you know, it has it right back there on the back.
okay.
I don't see it on there though.
I don't see it.
Okay. Okay, so we've already read the notes on there, so now we want to translate them. So now what you can do is come up here and click translate, or do Alt-T. Alt-T is translate notes. Okay? So what, how do you translate notes? What's a command? Alt-T. Very good. So you go to Alt-T, brings you to this box right here. There's a lot of things that you can do in this thing, okay? So one of them is you can tran and edit, which tran and edit means it's going to go through and start translating your job, but you can move around in the job, go to the top, and start editing the job while it's still translating the rest of the job. Make sense? So it allows you to work in the job while it's still translating. Okay? Pretty neat little function right there. But if an attorney calls you and says, you know what, I need a cost estimate on that job that we took on May 13th of 2013, call me back ASAP. Okay? Now you want to do a quick tran. Quick tran translates a job real quick and doesn't allow you to edit. When you're editing, it slows down the translation a little bit. Okay? Quick tran just trans it. And it does it real quick, and then it'll come to the end and it opens up a box and it says file 5/13/13, 197 pages. Well, if that was the only job that you took that day, then you know it's 197 pages. And that you need to add about 4 more pages, 3 for the title page, appearance page, and the examination page, which lists all of your witnesses, exhibits, stuff like that. And then you're going to have one at the end, which is your certification page, which certifies that you did it. And it's a true and correct copy. Okay? Make sense? So then you call the guy back. Well, it was 197 pages plus 4. Okay? So now you're at 201. Is that correct? So now you call him back, whatever your page rate is, whether it be $5, $6 a page, whatever it is, you know. Right now the going rate is, you know, anywhere from $5 to $6. I don't know if anybody's charging any more than $6. If it's a rush, then you charge more. If it's daily copy, then you charge even more. And it can get pretty crazy on the price. You know, if it's daily copy or if they want to rush. And depending on how hard it is too. You know, if it's all just legal argument, you know, you probably charge a little bit more for a rush on a legal argument, you know, as opposed to, you know, just a real simple question answer, you know, dialogue, whatever, of a witness, and he just wants that, you know. So, or you can come in here and do it in real time, which real time was opening up the file and doing it real time, and then virtual real time. which is right then and there, virtual, real time. Make sense?
I don't know the difference between real time and virtual real time.
I hadn't really used either one of these, so I mean, I'm not even sure that there is, you know, maybe there is a difference. Maybe you can read it off the machine. Maybe that is the way that you do it. I'm not real sure. Like I said, I do it the other way, so if I'm not doing it in real time, then really what I do is a quick tram.
Because otherwise you've already got the real time file on.
Yeah, it should already be on there. The other thing that you can kind of do that's pretty neat is you can add dictionaries. Okay? So say you've been working on a job and there's 5 days to this job. Okay? And you started memorizing briefs for certain things. You know, and say it's say it's an oil and gas job, and they're talking about fracking and all the different machines that have to do with fracking or tripping pipe or working on a platform, and they're using specific terms, you know, for this job. Maybe even company names. You know, maybe the company that they're talking about is Schlumberger. Well, if you're going to take 5 days of testimony on a company from Schlumberger, trust me, you don't want to stroke out Schlumberger every doggone time. If you do, you and I need to have a little talk, because you're not going to be in this profession very long. You're going to write your hands completely off. But so what you want to do is work smarter, not harder. You want to get to that point. So the first time you hear it, you stroke it out. The next time, it's like, you know what, if it comes up again, you're already thinking. If it comes up again, what's going to be my brief? Slum. What I would do, you may hear it differently. You may hear something totally different, and you hear STLUMP or UMD. I don't know. Slummed. And if it's easy for you to write, so be it. The less letter you use, the better. The less chance you're going to have of misstroking it, you know, whatever. So you want to go with the easiest thing or whatever. So the first thing that you hear, that's what you want to go to. All right? And say the first day you did it and you already made a job dictionary, which is what we're going to go into later. But you made a job dictionary for this one case. Because Mr. Krzyzewski was on there, you ain't stroking that out every time. Schlumberger was on there. They were talking about some fracking materials that had a crazy name, blah, blah, blah. So you've already made all of these briefs, and you've already put them into a job dictionary. You didn't put them in your main dictionary because you don't want them in there, because maybe you're going to use that brief for something totally different. If you use slum, and you know, maybe on another case, you know, slum can mean slumbar-listic operation. I just made that up, but whatever. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? So then you want to use slum there. Well, you've already have it in your main dictionary as Schlumberger. So now it's going to, every time that you're in that job, it's going to come up as Schlumberger. So if you're doing real time for the attorney, and he's looking down, he's like, I didn't say Schlumberger. Yeah. So, I mean, and you know, it's not real hard. You go in, you define it, and then after that, slum comes up, and it's going to be slumbar-listic operation if you're doing that, or Schlumberger. Okay? You in the back.
Yes. When you're in a case like that, and a word or something crazy like that comes up,
Yeah.
How do you verify the spelling if it's something you've never heard of? I mean, is there a sheet that has...
Usually they'll give you the information.
Okay.
You know, so a lot of times, you know, and if it's going to be a company like that, a lot of times they're probably either the plaintiff or the defendant. You know, if you're going to hear it a bunch of times, more than likely they're probably in that lawsuit.
So you would get that sheet beforehand? So
You get the sheet of the guy that you're going to take, or the person that you're going to take that deposition of. You're going to have that guy's name, his information of who you're going to who you're going to take. So it has all of that stuff, and it has, and I'll kind of show you in a little bit, but it's in a court document, but it's kind of the same. You know, it's going to have the cause number, the style of the case, which is Ron Krzyzewski versus Schlumberger, the court that it was filed in, the reason that you know, for the hearing, which was the, you know, oral deposition of, you know, maybe it was Ron Krzyzewski, or the main person for Schlumberger.
So
You
you're
know.
gonna go into that prepared for.
Oh yeah, you should. You should know. And maybe they're going to throw something different, you know, at you that, well, who did you used to work for?
Yeah.
Well, I used to work for Dow Chemicals, and I used to work for HP Billiton, BHP Billiton, you know, which is another oil company or whatever, or any of the oil stallion, Dragon Industries, any of these, and you're like, oh my God, you know, I've never heard of these companies or whatever. You just write the best that you can, you know? And, you know, the attorney's gonna, you know, it's like, what's he saying? BPB Billiton. It's BHP Billiton. And, you know, it's gonna come out Bill, and, you know, the way that you stroke it, it may come out Bill Tone or Bill Ton. You know, he's gonna say, no, well, I just need to go through and, you know, when we take a small break, I'll go in to find it, then it's gonna start coming up or whatever. Oh, okay, I understand. And if he's worked with you before, he's gonna understand. You know, and the way that you stroke out BHP, it's gonna come out, and then it's gonna have like Bill Ton or Bill Tone, and he's gonna be able to decipher it, so it'll be okay. And when you take a small break, you go back and kind of put them in, okay? But this is what you do. And, you know, say you want to add a dictionary, okay? Then you come here. It brings you to every job dictionary that you've ever made, okay? So you go down, choose, maybe it's a medical one, you know, and you have a bunch of medical phrases in there, and you know that you have it in your medical, choose medical. Maybe you have one for oil and gas. Maybe you have one for car wreck.
So is that what job dictionaries are? Is it more like the subject matter rather than specific cases?
It can be, it's more of a specific case.
Oh, okay.
But you can make different job dictionaries and put them in those dictionaries.
Okay.
So if you want to make a medical dictionary, you can make a medical dictionary. If you want to make an oil and gas dictionary, you can make an oil and gas, whatever. So, but, you know, like if you're taking 5 days of the same case, then you're just going to want to make a job dictionary comparable to that job. Because if you go in and just put the oil and gas, well, it may not have the BHP Billiton. It may not have Dragon Industries. It may just have like fracking material stuff or components, stuff like that. So you choose one, put it in there, push open, and it puts it in there. So now that job dictionary is in there, so when it goes through and translates that job, it's going to add all of those terms that you have in there. That makes sense? So if you don't want it in there, highlight it, push remove, takes it out. So don't freak out if it's like, oh my God, I put the wrong one in there. Now I have to trans the job from Monday, and we didn't start the job till Tuesday. No big deal. Take it out. Okay?
I have a question.
You in the back.
I'm in front.
Oh, you in the front.
Is this the process whether it's from an SD card or it's a file that, because you did real time? As far as bringing in that job dictionary?
You can retranslate the job. So don't freak out.
Okay,
So if, that's a very good question.
okay.
The lady in the front brought up a very good question. If you've already written the job in real time, and say you've already done 2 days of it, and when you pushed real time to do it in real time, you didn't put the dictionary that you already had, the job dictionary that you've already been building in there. Well, now you want to go back and translate it, but you know, it's no big deal. All you have to do is retranslate that job. And it gives you an option, and I'll show you here in just a bit. Remember all these things I'm talking about a lot of things about, yeah, I'll show you in just a bit. And that's about 3 or 4 things that we've already gone through, but and they're going to kind of show you right here in the visualizers. I'm just kind of going over it virtual right now, and then they're going to go back and kind of show you again, so you'll kind of see it again. But that's how you do it, and then you just press OK, and then it just starts reading it. It starts reading all of your English, all of your strokes into English. Okay? Make sense?
Yes.
You in the back.
Yeah. So if I were, often when I'm in testing,
Mm-hmm.
well, because of my last name, every time I go to like save my file,
Yeah.
like going through print, often it'll just crash before it can save. Yeah, it's done it like twice now. And so then when I go back to pull it up, it doesn't have, like I can get the notes, but then it's not the edited version. Is there a way to go back and get an edited version?
I'm not sure I'm totally understanding what you're talking about, but
Like
if you went through and took a job, I mean, say you went through and took a test, you're at the end of it, now you want to close it, it asks you if you want to save it, and you saved it under a name, and then it just goes
well, yeah,
away?
in the process of saving is when it like says, oh, not responding, and it just shuts down and crashes. And then when I open it up and go back to get the notes, it's like I never made any edits to it, and I have to completely re-edit it.
Well, then that's what you can do, is you can go back and translate it. You should be able to go back and translate it to your dictionary.
Okay.
So we can try it, and we'll try it on a break. No, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure out what's going on, but it may be something weird with your computer or your machine's not telling the computer something. I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
So anyway, that's how you do it. That's how you read in the job. Alt-I reads in the notes, pick the day, name it, hit enter. It reads all the strokes. That's it. Exit that. Alt-T takes you to translate. Choose the job. I don't even think I showed you that. When you go to Alt-T, you come up here to notes. I didn't show you that. And there's the notes right there that we read. Okay? So you choose that, hit open, now it's in there. So now it shows right here that you have it in the job. It's going to use your main dictionary, which that's what that means, main dictionary, and it should have your name. It's not going to have tutorial. It has tutorial because I'm in the tutorial. But it's going to have your main and then your name, which is your main dictionary, then the job, which is test 1, 51313, and then say I want to add to it, I want to add the medical. Then you open, now you have it in there. So now you have the main dictionary, the job that you're reading, and then whatever other job dictionaries that you want to put in. Make sense?
Yes.
I have a question.
You in the front.
So what is the advantage of putting your jobs on the SD card and not just doing it all real time? Does that make sense?
What's the advantage?
I mean, could you just do everything 100% real time?
Yeah. Yeah. But you always want a backup.
Okay.
Your computer crashes, where's that job? Gone.
So when you use that card,
Yeah. So like on the Diamante, which is what I have, you have the SD card, then you have another SD card, which is a backup. So it's writing onto 2 backups.
Okay.
And then if you're writing real time, that's your 3rd backup. Okay? So you always want to have some sort of backup.
How many backups do you have of your backups?
I have 1.
So so you do have it, like if it's not on your computer and you've got it on an SD card, do you have a backup of that
Yeah.
also? So you've got 2 of everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have 2 SD cards inside of that machine that are writing.
Okay.
So, and I keep them in different places. You don't want to keep them in the same place, which is what I was doing in the beginning when I first got my machine. And someone who was a little smarter than I am, which is hard to believe, asked me, well, if the courthouse burns down, where are those jobs? They're all in the courthouse. So now I keep my backup at home.
So do you remove it every day?
No, I mean, this, you know, the SD card, like I was telling you, the 32 gig lasts for a year and a half.
Okay.
So it's kind of bad because I didn't think of that until just now that you said it. But if the courthouse burns down, all of those files that are in my writer right now are gone. All of them are gone. God. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But the ones that I have before are already backed up. So, so you don't want to keep them in the same place. So if you're taking depositions, you know, maybe you have a fireproof safe or whatever, put it in there. You know, keep it somewhere different, or just in case it happens, you know, it's okay. And then you push OK, and then it starts translating. Okay, so then it's going to start training the job. So that's how you do it. So now we're going to watch the little tutorials on the different things. It's going to kind of show you, this is going to kind of go into first, messing with the toolbars and the info. So this right here is called the toolbars. I don't know if y'all knew that or not, but this right here is the toolbars, and you can kind of do different things with it. It's going to kind of show you. I keep mine really basic, because if you start putting too much stuff on there, 1, it gets really confusing. 2, you don't use 3/4 of the stuff that's on there. And 3, don't do it. No. 3, it kind of takes up your space on your monitor. Okay? And it's going to kind of show you that. So.
If you're a mouse lover, you'll appreciate the many icons that are built into Total Eclipse. So let's see how to arrange the toolbars to meet your needs. You can pull down the window menu to customize your toolbars. You can select large icons or small icons, but we'll show you how to do this in a separate visualizer. For now, let's open the dialog that lets you toggle on or off the various elements of your display. The speed key for this dialog is Shift-Control F3. Here you'll find checkboxes to turn on the various toolbars of your system, and there's also a fast way to turn off all the toolbars if you want to make a little extra space. The speed key for turn off all toolbars is Shift-Control F2. The View Toggles dialog is also where you control the appearance of the info bar. This is the display column at the left edge of the Eclipse screen. Here is where automagic choices appear most typically. So as you move your cursor from word to word, Eclipse offers you the most likely editing choices. You can, however, also display automagic choices in a small pop-up window. We'll show that in the separate visualizer. Also, the visualizer that is specifically about the info bar will show you how there you can see translation statistics in real time, as well as an audio indicator and auto-brief suggestions to make it easier to write.
Got it? That was a lot of information right there, guys. I'm going to play it again, kind of break it down a little bit.
If you're a mouse lover, you'll appreciate the many icons that are built into Total Eclipse. So let's see how to arrange the toolbars to meet your needs. You can pull down the window menu to meet your needs. You can pull down the window menu to customize.
Okay, so what you want to do is come into your Windows, and that's what it's saying. So just come into Windows, click it, and then it's going to bring this down right here. Okay? And it gives you a lot of different things that you can do. They're just talking about the toolbars right now. But, I mean, you can do a lot of different things. You know, and it kind of gives you what you want to do, and then it gives you what's called the speed keys. Okay? And that's the shortcuts. Okay? So, you know, Control-Shift-F1 is customize the toolbars. Control-Shift-F3 is view the toggles. Zoom in, zoom out. Remember we did that last week. it kind of goes in there. So if you ever get confused, you can come to any of these things right here and go in there and just click it and just mess with it one day. And it'll show you what it's going to do, one, and then it's going to show you the speed key for it. Okay? Make sense?
Your toolbars. You can select large icons or small icons, but we'll show you how to do this in a separate visualizer. For now, let's open the dialog that lets you toggle on or off the various elements of your display. The speed key for this dialog is Shift-Control F3. Here you'll find checkboxes.
So try that. Do Control-Shift F3 and see what it does on your computer.
Pops up.
Hmm?
Pops it up.
It does?
Yes.
And then do it again.
The same.
It didn't turn it off? Okay. And you can just kind of exit out.
Is to turn on the various toolbars of your system. And
So if you go into the view toggles, then what you can do is you can do any of these. It's going to give you basic, a little more advanced, way advanced, very advanced, way advanced. So it's going to give you a whole lot. You have up to like 6 toolbars that you can put on there. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous for using that many, but you can. You can. If that's the way you want to work through those things, help yourself, okay? And then if you want to turn them all off, the easy way to do it is just come to that button right there and just push all off, okay? But say you just want the basic, just do the number 1, okay? Oh, that's what it is. Control-Shift F2 turns off all the toolbars, okay?
there's also a fast way to turn off all the toolbars if you want to make a little extra space. The speed key for turn off all toolbars is Shift-Control F2. The View Toggles dialog is also where you control the appearance of the info bar. This is the display column at the left edge of the Eclipse screen.
This is the info bar. I just like that sound. So if you want the info bar on there, click the info bar. Okay? Might be a good thing to do.
Yeah.
What
So-
should be on there?
What should be on?
The info bar?
Well, it all depends on what you're in. If you just go to the main page, this is probably what it's gonna have right here. But if you're in a job, it's gonna give you totally different options.
Okay.
Okay? So it all depends on what page you're in as to what it's going to do. Okay?
Here is where automagic choices appear most typically. So as you move your cursor from word to word, Eclipse offers you the most likely editing choices.
You understand what it's saying right there? Automagic, and we'll kind of go into it later. Awesome. Awesome little thing. Okay? And what it's going to teach you is, and I don't want to go into it too much because we're talking about the toolbars right now, but Automagic, what it does is as you move your cursor from word to word, it's giving you different options of what it thinks that word should be. So it's thinking for you. Okay? So as you write and as you use keyword use, your software, it learns what you're doing. So the more you use it, it learns what you're doing. And it learns how you write. So then it starts guessing for you. So then it gives you options of what it thinks the word is. It gives the word, so if you misstroked it by one letter, then it's going to put the word that you stroked. Or it's going to say, you know what? It's kind of close to this. Did you mean this? Or this? Or this? Or this? It'll give you like 4 or 5 options of what it thinks you're trying to do.
Does it also go off of context or no?
Off of your notes?
Context like what you're writing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times it will. So, you know, the artificial intelligence will, you know, maybe guess what maybe you're trying to do with the stroke and with the context of what it's in. Okay? Make sense?
And is that what's happening when it's translating something and it stays red, but it's got the right word, but it's in?
Maybe it's a proper name.
Not even necessarily. Like if I know I misstroked something,
Yeah.
but it still goes ahead and guesses it right, but it stays in a funky color, like to show you that. So mine does at least. Is that what that's doing?
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but what it does is it's doing different things in different colors because it's showing you that it's something totally different.
Yeah.
You know, so you may have like a conflict with something, like a there and there. That's going to be in a different color. If you go through and just insert, which you can just insert stuff and type stuff in, it's going to be in a totally different color because it's going to tell you, you know what, oh, it's black. That's where I inserted. Blue is usually the regular one. Yellow is like conflicts, and I'm just giving you examples of different things that it can do. So it'll show you different things.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Trying to make sure that it's all right. All right. So the Auto Magic, good to have on. Okay? So you want the info bar, Auto Magic. All right?
Can, however, also display automagic choices in a small pop-up window. We'll show that in a separate visualizer. Also, the visualizer that is specifically about the info bar will show you how there you can see translation statistics in.
So if you click this, which you don't really need to, I don't think you guys need to do it, but if you want to, you can put your translation stats on there. So as you're writing, up here, it's going to have a little box, and it's going to tell you what your translation rate is. So it's actually pretty neat. If you want to do it, it's okay. And next time you practice, mess with this. Put the translation stats, the auto briefs. You don't really need the waveform display because that just tells you that it's recording a wave file. So you're not going to need that. But check those two, translation stats and auto briefs. Next time that you're practicing something, just put it on, and it's going to bring up a little box up here, and it's going to show you what your stats are and how it's translating. It's pretty neat. It's actually pretty neat. So if you want to mess with that, you can.
Real time, as well as an audio indicator and auto brief suggestions to make it easier to write.
Any questions about that? There was a lot of material in there, guys. No questions? You in the back?
I'm good.
You in the front?
Good.
All right. Now we're going to go on to read notes, which is kind of what I touched on a little while ago, but they'll show you in depth.
Let's see how to read notes and manage steno. Setting steno. Settings. Input. The read method needs to be correct for your writer. On some older writers, you may be reading notes through a cable rather than a disk drive. The cable would be connected to a COM port, so you'd need to check the correct COM port on your computer. More typically, your notes are coming off of a floppy disk inserted in drive A, but the newest writers write to a flash disk or other smart media. So this may have been set up by Windows as something other than drive A. Thereafter, you can click on the toolbar icon or use the production menu or speed key Alt-I for input. Here's the Read Notes dialog. Give your note file the name that you want the job to have. If you like to scope notes before the job translates, Eclipse can automatically open the note file for you after reading in your steno. As for the New Source button, it's handy when you have additional notes to read from a different source than the one you usually use. Here I'll use the Note Preview window and read in the notes. Then press OK to close this dialog. Here's my steno, and here are two sets of time codes, although not significant in this non-real-time example. Let me now right-click to see what my options are. What's translate mode? Translate mode simply gives me a preview of how my steno will translate against my dictionaries.
A lot of information in there too, so we'll kind of go over it again.
Let's see how to read notes and manage steno. Steno. Settings. Input. The read method needs to be correct.
So when you want to go into your settings, do you guys know how to do that?
Yes,
What is it?
settings,
Hmm? Alt-U.
Oh,
Alt-U. Try it right now. Okay? Should bring up this window right here. You in the back? Okay.
Correct for your writer. On some.
So what it does is it allows you to pick whatever writer you have, okay? And that's what it's doing to know how to do it if you're gonna write in real time, okay? Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So that's what these little windows are, and that's under input under your user settings, okay?
On some older writers, you may be reading notes through a cable rather than a disk drive. The cable would be connected to a COM port, so you'd need to check the correct COM port on your computer. More.
Do you understand what it's saying there on a COM port?
The number of whichever
Yeah.
slot.
Yeah. So whichever slot you put your little cable into, that's going to be the COM port that it's, and you need to kind of use the same one every time, okay? Unless you want to keep changing the COM ports or whatever.
Typically, your notes are coming off of a floppy disk inserted in drive A, but the new.
So, I mean, what it was asking you there is where the information is going to be coming from, okay? Is it going to be coming off a floppy disk? Probably not anymore, okay? So it's probably going to be coming from your writer, or it's going to be coming from the USB, the little SD card.
So if I'm trying to get it off here, and I've got it connected through the cable
Mhm.
in COM port 1, do I say read from, in this case, it would be COM port or USB port?
It should probably be COM port 1 if it's, yeah. Did it read it?
Well, I don't have it connected.
Atta girl. All right, ready?
Newest writers write to a flash disk or other smart media. So this may have been set up by Windows as something other than Drive A. Thereafter, you can click on the toolbar icon or use the production menu or speed key Alt-I.
And that's what I was talking about earlier. So if you're getting it from someplace other than your machine through real time, then this is the way you're going to do it. That's the way you're going to read the notes, is Alt-I. Okay?
For input.
So what Eclipse tries to do in a lot of their commands is they try to put the letter to something that you're going to do so that you remember. And the Alt-I stands for input. You're going to input notes or read notes. So that's Alt-I for input. Alt-R is something else, and that's why they used I for input. But what you're doing is inputting your notes. So it's kind of easier to remember, okay?
The read notes dialog. Give your note file the name that you want the job to have.
And that's what we did right here. So it opens up a little bit different window. No big deal. I think this is kind of maybe an older version, whatever. But if it comes up like that, then this is what you do. Choose the file. It's going to ask you, like mine came up a little bit different. It brings up a totally different little small window. What do you want to name it? And it doesn't really matter. It tells you right there. Note, file, name. What do you want to name it? Okay? You've already selected this job. Say there's 12 jobs right here. Select the job you want. It's going to do the same thing. Highlight it, then you name it. Okay?
If you like to scope notes before the job translates, Eclipse can automatically open the note file for you after reading in your steno.
So after you've already read in the steno, it has this pretty neat little thing right here, and you can open it and then view it real quick, okay, and make sure that that's the job that you wanted or whatever. So really what it does is it opens the notes that are read from the writer, okay, So it allows you to see, well, yeah, that is the job that I want to translate, so yeah, I need to choose this one. Or no, I don't want to choose this one, and then pick the other one that you want. Okay?
As for the New Source button, it's handy when you have additional notes to...
And that's what comes up on mine. Remember the New Source? Where you put it in, if you're putting it in the USB, or you're putting it in the little, the other little doodad thing, where the little SD card goes in, it's going to ask you where you want to read it from. You know, and it gives you a bunch of different options. Do you want to do drive A, C, D, E, F? Which one do you want to read from? Okay? So that's where the New Source comes from. You go to New Source, brings up this thing. I want to do it from drive, I think it was H whenever I did it. You choose H, press OK, then you go to New Source again, pick the job, then go from there. Okay?
Read from a different source than the one you usually use. Here I'll use the Note Preview window and read in the notes.
So when you click on a job, it's going to give you the notes like I showed you guys a while ago. And you can kind of, you know, push the bar down and it kind of goes down and it kind of shows you the notes. And it's like, you know what? Oh yeah, that's the Wednesday, April the 19th of, I think that's his brief for 2006. Yeah, 2006. I do it different. Mine is Twix, but his is Twox or whatever. It's for 2006. So, I mean, you already see that it's there. Okay, yeah, that's it. That's a deposition of Mark Schwenk, or Swing, whatever. So, I mean, you can kind of see what he was kind of doing there or whatever. So you can kind of scroll down and say, oh yeah, that's it. That's the job that I want, and pick it. Okay?
Then press OK to close this dialog. Here's my steno, and here are two sets of time codes, although not significant.
And it gives you the time codes here. I mean, it's really not that significant, like he says, because you know it was either on that day or it wasn't on that day. Okay? But maybe you took 3 depositions in that day, and they want the second deposition that was taken at 2140. What is that, 10? It's 21, 2, 3, 4, and 9. So at 9:40 p.m., you knew that you took the second or third deposition or whatever, and that's where it started, and that's, okay.
Into this non-real-time example. Let me now right-click to see what my options are. What's translate mode?
So when you come into here, like he's saying, you can right-click, and it gives you different options of what you want to do, okay? You can, you know, you can read and append the notes. Import, find, locate next, translate mode. Translate mode is pretty neat because, and they're going to show you, it kind of shows you how your notes are going to match up to your steno. How the English is going to match up to your steno. All right?
Translate mode simply gives me a preview of how my steno will translate against my dictionaries.
Any questions about that? A lot of stuff covered in there. A lot of stuff. Okay? And I think you guys are at a bigger advantage because you're here. You know, the people watching the video, you know, if you have questions, hopefully they're going to watch the video. And I told everybody that it was gone today that they really needed to watch the videos, but kind of emphasize to them tomorrow, hey, watch that video if you haven't already, because we covered a lot of stuff today.
And so far, just to summarize, all of that we've learned so far is just getting notes off of the machine when we did not do real time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now it's going to show you how to translate it.
Let's take a quick look at Total Eclipse translation options. You can get to the Translate Notes dialog by clicking on a toolbar icon, or opening the production menu, or using the speed key, Alt-T.
And that's what we talked about earlier. Okay. You can go up to the toolbar, click Translate, or the speed key is Alt-T.
Use the Notes button to select a steno file that you have already brought in from your writing machine. By default, the system will presume that you want the text file to have the same name, but you can certainly give your text file any name you want. There are two non-real-time translation modes. So for files that you've already written and brought into your computer, you could say that you want to edit while the translator works in the background. If you select Quick Tran, you will not be able to begin editing until your complete file has translated, but the system will be able to translate faster because the editor does not have to share the computer's processing power with the translator. After translation is finished, this statistics dialog will open. You can press the Enter key to close the dialog and begin editing your document.
Kind of a lot of material there too, so I'll kind of go through.
Let's take a quick look at Total Eclipse translation options. You can get to the Translate Notes dialog by clicking on a toolbar icon, or opening the Production menu, or using the Speed key, Alt-T. Use the Notes button to select a steno file that you...
And that's what I was kind of showed you guys earlier. Go on to the notes. That's the first step that you do, okay? Go on to the notes, select the notes that you want, whatever you named it. You go into Alt-I to read the notes. You've already named the file, okay? So you name the file Mike McCorkle, okay? So it already has a name, so it reads all of those notes. Now you're into translation mode, you come into notes, now you already know, you're looking for the notes. It's not a job yet, it's just the notes, and it shows you right there, the little note thing, that's your notes file of Mike McCorkle.
You have already brought in from your writing machine. By default, the system will presume that you want the text file to have the same name, but you can certainly give your text file any name you want.
So you can name it anything you want after that, okay? So what I do is like I have all of my morning jobs on one file. So what I go through and I translate the whole thing for the morning. Well then you know what, then I go through and start editing that job, and once I'm done, I highlight it, copy it, and then I paste it into a totally different file and then name it a totally different name. I don't want to keep it in there because say it was the 4th case that we heard that morning. Well, it started on page 57 and went to page 91. Well, I need it on page 1. Well, you're not going to erase 1 through 56 just to get it to page 1. All you have to do is just create another file. So what you do is highlight it, push Control-C, which will copy it, go back to the main thing, to your main file, go into Alt-E, which opens up a file name, and I'll kind of show you guys later. I'm kind of getting ahead. But, and then just name it whatever you want to name it. Well, that allows you to do what they were just doing, which is fine if you're doing like a deposition and stuff, but if you have 10 files on that one day, you don't want to name it Mike McCorkle because that whole file is going to be named Mike McCorkle, and you just want that short little, just that one hearing. You don't want all 10 hearings named Mike McCorkle when you had, you know, Esperanza Villa and John Smith and 9 other cases that day. Okay? So you want to be, careful about that.
2 non-real-time translation modes. So for files that you've already written and brought into your computer, you could say that you want to edit while the translator works in the background.
And that's what I was talking about earlier. So say you want to go through, they want the job. They do. So you don't have to sit there and wait for the whole thing to, translate. And it'll take a few minutes for it to translate, depending on how long it is or whatever. So, you're going to do a tran and edit.
So does it slow it down?
It slows it down a little bit, but it's
Just a
not
little?
considerable, yeah.
Oh.
Not
It's
slower
not.
than you'll be able to edit it.
No. It's gonna translate way quicker than you can edit it. Yeah. way quicker than that. So, I mean, you're still gonna be okay. But if you don't know that they want the job, then you just do a quick tran and it's gonna do it quick. 'Cause it's not, you're not gonna be doing anything else on the computer, so it's gonna use all of that computer strength to translate that job
Do
quicker.
they often ask for an estimate and then decide it's not worth it for the price?
Sometimes. I get parents that do it all the time and they freak out on the price. They think it's gonna be a $20. We were in there for 4 hours and they think that it's gonna be $20. No. So, and you know, on average, you can do about 40 to 60 pages in an hour. So if you're in there for 4 hours and you do it, you know, say you just did 50 pages an hour, you take the average, you know, you've already done 200 pages, you know, in 4 hours. So, and it's $6 a page, yeah, it's not gonna be 20 bucks. So they kind of freak out, whoa, what? So, yeah, sometimes you do. But most of the attorneys kind of know,
Yeah.
so they know whether they want it or not. So,
If you select Quick Tran, you will not be able to begin editing until your complete file has translated, but the system will be able to translate faster because the editor does not have to share the computer's processing power with the translator. After translation,
so after it translates, you do the quick tran. This is the box that's gonna pop open, okay? It's gonna tell you total entries translated. So that's how many entries you had, okay? And it's gonna tell you how many did not were untranslated. So they didn't tran out. So these are things that weren't in your dictionary that it couldn't figure out, which is still pretty good when you consider you had 10,000 entries and you only had 245 untranslated. It equates to about 2.4 untranslate percentage. Pretty good. That's pretty good. It tells you how many conflicts you have, and your conflicts are like there, and there. You know, if it conflicts, you shouldn't have those kind of conflicts, but I'm just kind of giving you an example of, you know, something that might conflict that you write kind of similar, and you create a conflict for that certain stroke or whatever. And then it tells you how many pages it was. Make sense? You in the front.
On conflicts, and then what's the selected mean? What does that mean?
Oh, with the artificial intelligence, it'll usually select one of them. Sometimes it'll select
okay.
what it thinks it is. So that's what it's telling you right there, is how many were selected.
Okay.
Usually I get this box when I go to close my real time for the day, that pops up.
Yeah.
Is that what it typically, like, that's like?
Yeah, it's just telling you how many pages were there,
Okay.
which not real important because you should be at the bottom of the page. If you're doing real time, it should be going down with you, so you should know how many pages it is. But, you know, and it'll tell you that, but it tells you some of this other stuff too, which is good to know. Okay?
is finished, this statistics dialog will open. You can press the enter key to close the dialog and begin editing your.
So once you push enter or OK, then it's going to close that box and it goes straight into the job. And that's what it's doing right there. Okay? So you shouldn't have to open the job again. It should open once everything is translated or whatever, and you press OK, it shows you, you know, the untranslates translates, how many pages it was, then you push OK, then it just goes straight into the job. And then it'll tell you you're on volume 1, page 1 of 56 pages. Okay? And then it tells you what line you're on. So it gives you the different lines over here. And usually there's 25 lines on a page.
Document.
Any questions about that? You in the back.
I'm teaching.
Front? All right. Now they're going to show you real-time translation.
There are several ways to start and stop real-time translation. If you prefer speed keys, you can use Alt-T to start and Shift-Alt-T to stop. Shift-Alt-T to stop. But you can also use instant real-time to start, and you can also click on the close button of your translating window to stop. The Translate Notes dialog, which you can access through the speed key Alt-T, offers many options. Here you could select the dictionaries that you want to use just for this translation, or you could go to your user settings to make a selection of dictionaries that will be remembered. Here is where you would indicate that you want to use a master job dictionary for large cases. This is the subject of a separate presentation in the Dictionaries section of Visualizers. In this example, you see I'm setting up for real-time translation, and I want to record an audio file that will be synchronized with my real-time text. When I press the OK button, I'll be asked to give the file a name. With real-time translation, I can see and edit what I'm writing. Read back is much easier, plus I can be recording a synchronized audio file to accompany my transcription. I'm also displaying the real-time statistics dialog. Not only does it include an audio level indicator to let me know if I'm getting a good sound recording, it includes a speedometer showing me the number of words per minute that I'm currently writing and the number of words per minute that I've been writing since translation began.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and explain the whole thing.
Oh.
So what I like to do is kind of play the whole thing, let you listen to it, kind of absorb what you can, and then I'll kind of go back and explain. So I like for you to kind of look at it first and then kind of get your questions and thoughts together.
There are several ways to start and stop real-time translation. If you stop real-time translation, if you prefer speed keys, you can use Alt-T to start.
So Alt-T takes you into the translation mode, remember? And it takes you into real-time, virtual real-time.
Okay.
That's what they're talking about right there, okay?
And Shift Alt-T to stop. But you can also use Instant Real-Time to start, and you can also click on the close button of your
Which the instant real-time is that real-time little bar up here on your toolbar.
Is that what you use?
Yeah, I just go straight into that. To me, it's a little bit easier. But I'm gonna show you some things that they're going to explain on here that's actually pretty neat. So when you set it up, and like I was talking to you a little while ago about doing a specific job, and you want to use a specific dictionary, you can do it in real time with that dictionary already. Okay, and I'll show you in just a bit. They're going to show you.
translating window to stop. The Translate Notes dialog, which you can access through
So that's the Alt-T. It brings you right here to this box. Do it right now. Alt-T. Brings you to the box, gives you the different options.
the speed key Alt-T, offers many options. Here you could select the dictionaries that you want to use.
So what you want to do right here, and then what it's telling you you can do, is say you have that, you're in day number 3 of 5, and you've already taken 2 days of this job, and you know it's going to be over the same stuff, okay? So what you can do is go in here to dictionaries, select, and it opens that box, and it gives you the options of selecting whichever dictionary you want, okay? Say you want the medical and the 5-day little trial or deposition that you're taking is on FinFin. Well, you've already made a file for all your FinFin stuff. Let's just say you have, and you have a dictionary of it. Or it's oil and gas, or it's medical, or whatever, okay? That's the example that they're giving you right there. So you select these dictionaries, put them in there, so when you go into real time, it's already reading it. Okay? Pretty neat. Pretty neat little thing. So, like I was talking to you a while ago, and you put BHP Bulletin. Maybe they talked about BHP Bulletin in the first 2 days that you took that stuff, so it should already be in there. So you shouldn't have to go in and train it again. Your little shortcut is going to be there. Make sense?
Use just for this translation, or you could go to your user settings to make a selection of dictionaries that will be remembered. Here is where you would indicate that you want to use a master job dictionary for large cases. This is the subject of a separate presentation in the Dictionaries section of Visualizers. In this example, you see I'm setting up for real-time translation, and I want to record an audio file that will...
You see what it's telling you right there? You have everything set up. You've gone in, selected your dictionaries. You're going to do it in real time. And you want to make a wave recording. So you want to record the audio. So everything that they're saying is going to be recorded. Okay? And it's pretty neat because they have a little microphone thing that you can buy that hooks into your machines now. And it records everything. And it's called a wave file. So say we're in a job right now and I need to go to page 59 of the job because that's where that job starts. Well, back in the day, we used these things called cassettes. And I think I told you about that. Using the cassettes, and we used that dictaphone. Ridiculous. Now, I just go to page 59, and wherever I want to start, I put my cursor right there, push Alt-J. Alt-J enacts the, or enables the recording, and it just starts playing. So from where they start, from where I put that cursor, that's where they start talking. So it already knows to start opening up right there. Pretty neat.
How often do you record audio?
Every day.
Oh, you do?
Every day. And you don't count on it, but it's a backup.
Right.
But you go through and listen to it. I mean, and it just kind of helps you with certain things. I mean, say they're talking about BHP Billiton, well, you have no idea what he just said. BBP Billiton, what? Or Gilliton, you don't know what he said. Or you go back and listen to it, oh. And you know, when you hear it the second, oh, it's BHP. BHP, or you know, Dragon Industries. Dragon. Did he say dragon? Dragon? Tragon? I don't know. Oh, dragon. Yeah, okay. So it just kind of helps you go through. And, you know, you can take a sentence, punctuate it 3 different ways, and it can have 3 different meanings. So you have to be real careful, you know, how you punctuate too. And using the audio files helps you with that too, how they set it, okay?
So why would you pick, because this is translating things that have already been written.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you pick real time over just a regular?
No, this is, you're getting ready to do it in real
Oh,
time.
this
So
is
this is
before
not
the
stuff
fact,
that
yeah.
you've already written. This is
Okay.
real time. You're getting ready, you're getting set up for a job. You're getting ready to write the job. This is what they're doing right
So
here.
this is a way to make it personalized to how you want it rather than just going in and clicking real time. Like
Yeah.
really quick, okay.
Yeah. So if you go in and click real time, then all it's going to do is real time.
Gotcha.
Okay? Now, it already knows. Once you go into real time, it already knows. It's going to go off your main dictionary. So it's just going to start. But if you already know that you're going to do the fin case, because you've already been doing it for 2 days, you've got 3 more days left, you already know that that's what they're going to be talking about, it would be kind of silly of you not to put that dictionary in.
So that's how you would enter real time.
That's how you would enter. So when you get to that job, you set up, you're getting ready to go into real time, Alt-T. Alt-T brings you into translate, brings you into this. Now I want to do real time. That's what I want to do. I don't want to tran and edit a job. I don't want to quick tran a job. I'm fixing to do real time, and I want to put my dictionaries in there, get it set up, I'm ready to go. And I want to record audio file. Which you really shouldn't have to go into this
Is
because it
set?
should be recording off of your, it should be recording from your machine. But if you want to, and you can have a totally separate thing, I guess, hooked up to your computer to where it is recording from there too, I guess. I've never done it that way. But I guess that's what they're talking about. I've never done it that way. Mine records straight onto, into the machine. Okay? Make sense?
Be synchronized.
You in the front.
So like my main has my name, Lisa H.
Yeah.
But it says 1, nothing but 2, and it has some dictionary entry. It says 07-15-10, like BAIADY 25. I don't know what the heck that is. I wouldn't have known how to do that. Or how do you,
Did you do that?
if I did, I didn't know what I was doing.
Click on it.
How do you do that? How do you,
Right click.
yeah, I don't know where that is.
Exit out. Go into OT.
See, when I click there, it shows up there.
Just push and remove.
Oh,
No.
crap. Sorry. Just hit remove?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Wake up. All right. Any questions about anything that we've done so far? Good.
With my real-time text. When I press the OK button, I'll be asked to give the file a name.
Okay, so once you go in, choose all of that stuff, now it's going to ask you for a name, and then you can go in and name it, or you can just kind of wait, and it'll kind of give you that option right there. You know, don't show this message again, and then it'll kind of skip that message if you want to wait till the end to name it or whatever.
With real-time translation, I can see OK button. I'll be asked to give the file a name. With real-time translation, I can see and edit what I'm writing. Read back is much easier. Plus, I can be recording a synchronized audio file to accompany my transcription.
And this right here shows you that the audio is on. When this thing is moving, that means it's recording. So if you're in there and this thing isn't moving, you're not recording. Okay? So I don't know. I don't think it's showing on me. Okay, guys, I kind of panned out a little bit, and it kind of shows you now. I didn't know if you could see it before, and I apologize if some of the things that we've been recording didn't show, but you should have showed up for class and you could have seen it. I'm just kidding. But anyway, this is the little box, and it shows you right here. It has an audio 1. So if this thing is moving, then it's recording. If it's not moving and there's no green lines on it, it's not recording. And you need to figure out what's going on, okay? But this is the status. This is the status bar, and it kind of tells you everything. It tells you how many entries you have so far, how many untranslates you have so far, conflicts, you know, stuff like that. And then right here, and it'll tell you in just a second, it'll tell you how fast you're writing, okay?
I'm also displaying the real-time statistics dialog.
And that's what it's telling you right there. You're writing 125 words a minute, okay? I don't know completely how accurate this thing is. I think it's pretty accurate, but I mean, it's told me 300 at times.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, when the attorneys are arguing, the judge is in there arguing with them, and I'm just dead getting it. I don't even have time to stop these guys sometimes. I'm just writing, and I've looked up, and this thing is at 300. Now, it's not sustained for 300,
Right.
but I mean, you're getting it. You know?
So what's the difference, that's what I was gonna ask, what's the difference between the words per minute and then the one that says T? Is the T the one that's like what you're currently doing? And then the other one is your overall average?
Well, and it all depends. I mean, because if you're just stroking, you know, away, then it may not be. I think this is what it's virtual real time, what you're actually writing, you know, as opposed to what it thinks you're writing because of the strokes that you're hitting.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So the more accurate one is the T?
Yeah.
Not only does it include an audio level indicator to let me know if I'm getting a good sound recording, it includes a speedometer showing me the number of words per minute that I'm currently writing and the number of words per minute that I've been writing since translation began.
That's what it is. So it tells you since you began the job, how many you've pretty much averaged.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay? Any questions about that? No? Okay, guys, that's going to be all for today. We covered an absolute lot of material today. Okay? Go over that stuff again. Mess with it again. Go in there and just mess with some of that stuff. I mean, if for some reason it shouldn't mess anything up. But, you know,
Yeah.
write something, practice something, and then go back, create a totally different file, and go through and kind of edit it. Edit it a little bit, whatever, and then go through and try to read that dictionary into the next real-time thing and see how it translates. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Try that. Let me know how that works out. Actually do it too. Don't just tell me,
So
give
I
me
can
lip
try?
service, say, yeah, yeah.
I could try on my machine to type on it not in real time, and then try to upload those notes just through Word.
What's that?